Hi, ladies. It's Sandra Lee here from Women on Transition, one of the head coaches. And today we're going to unpack the topic on dating again. And it's many multiple levels of complications and scariness that come along with it. The do's and the don'ts. We're going to uncover red flags, scamming. We're going to uncover, when you should and when you shouldn't. And, just share a little bit about my story because online dating or offline dating, it's all there in front of us, and it was very different to what it was possibly when the last time we were dating. I know I met my first husband when I was only 17, so there was no computers, there was no online dating, and I know many of the women that I coach and talk to on a regular basis are the same. They said they've been in relationships for decades, and the last time they were dating, they were at a barn dance, or they were at the church, or it was a very different world to now navigating something that's online and putting yourself out there as well. That's super scary. So we're going to go through some of these slides and unpack, and I would love for you to share, maybe in the comments underneath of this recording, maybe some of your stories, or maybe you've had some great success, maybe you've had some scary stories, but certainly just where you've gone with your dating as well, post-divorce, separation, widowhood, or wherever you are at the moment, at whatever age. So dating again, the do's and the don'ts. Ready to dive back into the dating pool, ladies? Well, you're not alone. With dating app usage, it's gone up 27%, just in Melbourne over the last 3 years, but across Australia, it's gone up 55%. More midlife women are embracing new beginnings, and navigating this journey is really scary. So we're going to talk about some practical guidelines and some of the challenges, but also some of the wins or opportunities that might come along for growth that you might experience as well. So are you ready to roll with me? So knowing when you're ready to date again, like there's no piece of string that's perfect for us. It's everybody's different, and my experience dating is going to be very different to yours. And I have had 3 marriages. My first marriage, it ended in my mid-30s, and I ended up dating somebody that I knew. So it was not long after, and we came together without really resolving or healing from our own broken marriages. And it was 2 people that hadn't sorted themselves out that came together in their brokenness, and that marriage didn't last either. So that was my second marriage. So I never really went out onto a dating pool or dating world until I was in my nearly late 40s. And I just had to look at that point back to where I'd come from, and I was terrified and horrified that I had 2 failed marriages. And at that point, I realized that I was the common denominator. I was the one who, settled for less than in my both significant relationships. So I then set about my own path to do my healing and growing so that I could choose better in the future and not just be chosen and be happy that I'd been chosen. So this is where it comes down to knowing when you're ready to date again. And the number one thing is that self-love. Is your worth tied to a relationship status? And is this something that you feel whole and complete without being in a relationship? So there's a big difference. I was chatting to one of the ladies yesterday that I was coaching, and, we talked about, she said, I feel really lonely. And I said, but when you're alone, it's about you feeling whole and complete, on your own, and then choosing, once you're whole and complete, to be going into a relationship and not going for the reasons of being lonely, because being lonely, we could, buy a dog, buy a puppy, or, go and look after your grandkids, or go and find a girlfriend and go out and have a coffee or a vino. So these are the things that we could be doing to, completing that loneliness. But the step back from that so that we don't feel lonely is to work with ourselves so that when we are alone, we're happy being alone. We're not lonely. So that's self-love. Your worth isn't tied to a relationship status. It's not that I need to be a Mrs. or I need to be, with somebody. The last person I was with had a farm or a boat or a certain car, or went to a car club, or so it's about you knowing who you are and not being part of their world. And it's you finding out what your world is, because our worlds were so enmeshed when we were together that it just became our world. But now we've separated, and a lot of times our friends separate as well, or take sides, or drift away, and so it's finding out who you are whole and complete in yourself, in your own shoes, and what you like doing, what you love doing, what you like to eat, where you like to go out, what you like, what pictures, what movies, what theater, what, all the plays, maybe some of the things that you couldn't have done in the past. So I always work back to getting me right, getting you right, before you actually look at bringing and adding in that other person into your life. So that emotional healing is so critical. Healing from past hurts and, bitterness as well, because you're going to take all of that into that next relationship unless you've worked out a way to break it out and unpack it and put it all back together with a bow on it. So it's got to be acknowledged. It's got to be processed. You've got to work through that pain to get to a place that you are whole and complete. And that clear direction, getting really clear how you're going with, making sure that you actually want to be in a relationship. Maybe you want to be dating. When I first was single after my second marriage, I chose to have a bit of fun. I'd go out there and do some dating and meet a few different people, and not just jump into, I guess, a relationship straight away, because I thought when I do meet Mr. Right, it is going to be maybe a forever after. And I did want a relationship. I did the work on myself. I spent time healing, learning, growing, so that I could make sure that I didn't make the past mistakes again. And my next permanent relationship was going to be a healthy relationship with a magnificent man, that we both chose each other. It wasn't just somebody coming along that I was grateful that actually was throwing me some breadcrumbs, which it was in the past. And so for me, going through this journey, I chose to not have anything serious to start with. I just chose to have things casual and friendly and go out and have some fun. And, some of my girlfriends were married and didn't want to come out with me as a single woman. And I found some new single friends at that time. I still kept my married girlfriends, but certainly I had some single girlfriends that were great for that. And so I went out and we were each other's wing women. We went out and we met different guys at different places, or we mingled, or we went out on dates, and, making sure that it was a bit of fun and doing it in a way that was really safe as well. So we're going to touch on that next as well. As you go through choosing your platforms, like many girls come to me and say, Sandra, which is the best platform? Well, to be honest, I don't know. I think that some people have found their forever after on Tinder. Other people hate Tinder. So I think you've got to, go with what works for you. I chose at the time not to use Tinder. I felt it was more of a hookup. It wasn't for me. Whilst I wanted casual, I didn't want it to be a one-night stand casual. I wanted it to be casual, go out for fun and have a drink, and or maybe go out to and do an activity or go to something. So with Australians' online dating market, it's projected to be over 70, 80 million Australian dollars. It's a big bucks in there. So a lot of the dating sites are wooing you to come onto them. And quite often you can join for free, but then they push and push and push for you to pay. But sometimes if you actually unsubscribe or come off the platform, they might often offer you a free month to try out a paid subscription as well. So go on there, see what you can do. And I didn't mind paying. It wasn't a huge amount. It was like the dating site I chose to go on to, it was Zoosk, Zoosk, which isn't one of these, but nowadays it's different to what it was then. That was going back 9 years ago, so maybe 10 years ago. So I know one of my girlfriends, she was on Plenty of Fish. So that's another one that, it's you going on and finding out what vibe. Quite often you'll see the same guys on different platforms, and I went on and then I went off for a while, and went on and went off for a while. So when I went on for a few weeks, then I'd go off for a few weeks, and I think that's quite a good thing, because you tend to get the same merry-go-round of people that are coming through as well. And this is about you being authentic. So authentic profiles, there's a whole lot out there about, even now people are doing artificial intelligence photos. So they're putting their photos into an app, and then it spits out a photo of Sandra on a horse, a photo of Sandra in a boat, a photo of Sandra in a nice, Mercedes car, a photo of Sandra. So they can all be AI generated from a group of photos that I've put in. So just be really careful and aware that, these could be fake photos, even if there isn't a real profile, and don't do it yourself. Be real. If you've got, you've got to, we're midlife women, ladies, go out there and put yourself out there of who you are, because if they show up and see you as something different to what they're looking for, then they're going to just walk away and be disappointed and feel that you've let them down or deceived them as well. And that's never going to be a healthy foundation of a relationship. So use a mix of recent photos. One of the things we do when we go out with the girls, when we do our retreats, is we take photos of them so they can use them on their dating profiles. Might be in a jungle swing in Bali, or it could be down the beach, casual there with a beautiful coconut drink. Or so these are things that build trust from the start and showcase your genuine self. Your right match will appreciate it, and he will be attracted to you. And when you're looking at fellas profiles, or your potential partner's profile, be discerning. If the profile's talking about only about what they demand in or need in a woman, and setting up these standards that they haven't even met you yet, it's very important that you're aware of how that language plays out, and it's not a controlling language from the start. So safety first. Safety is number one. So scammers, ladies, the number one age group that's been scammed in Australia today is midlife women between 40 and 65, and it's $1 billion industry. So men and women, you don't know who they are. They're creating profiles, they're stealing profiles, other real people's pictures, and it's a global business. It's a global industry. They could be in Australia in a little warehouse, or they could be in Sri Lanka, or they could be in China. You wouldn't know. And they're actually pretending to be someone else, and they're attracting you to them, knowing exactly where your weakness is and your vulnerability, and they know you're lonely. They know that potentially midlife women, a lot, have got money. They've got certainly more money than they have. But even if you've got $30,000 to your name, that's a lot for some, and for others it's not a lot. But certainly for these scammers, any money's fair game. They would take every dollar you've got plus more. And I say that because we see and hear stories all the time with our girls coming to us saying that they took money out of their credit card to give them because they didn't have any more. They'd already given them everything they had. And some of these girls are smart, switched on, intelligent women, and they are victims of a crime. These are professional syndicates that go out there and they just spend months warming you up, building your trust, and then not asking even for money, but they do it in different ways. They might ask you to, can they give you some money and put it in your bank account so you can give it to their niece, or they might ask you to collect a parcel for them, or they might ask you to send them pictures, or they might ask you to, do different things, or invest in a platform that they've been investing in, making, 150% return on their money in 3 weeks. And so they even show you the platform and they show you their winnings. And the girls have gone in there and they've invested in that platform that's a fake platform. So there's so many scammers and scary stories out there. There's probably as many scammers as there are dating people out there legitimately wanting to date. So just be that careful and be that aware. And if I've scared you a bit, that's good, because it will make you a little bit aware. We're so conscious of, not being fearmongers, but it's certainly been educated. So the more educated you are, the more confident you are in yourself and your own self-belief, the more you'll be discerning, and the more you'll not take just somebody's flattery as as gospel. So red flags and green flags in potential partners. So inconsistent communication, and this is a big one, not just for scammers, but it could be for anyone you're talking to. If they say they don't have kids and suddenly you find out they do, or when my first husband separated with me, he went on a dating site, and my girlfriend said, "Oh, your husband's on a dating site. We'd only been separated a few weeks." And I said, "Really?" And she goes, "Yeah." He said he's 10 years younger and he's got no kids. And and our kids were 5 and 8 years old. So I had a little chuckle, but now I've gone into that years later, and certainly the ability to know that, if people are out there pretending to be something that they're not, how people do little things is how they do big things. And the reality is, people don't change. A little lie's a lie. People are liars, they're liars. So inconsistent communication is something you need to pick it up, and it is a red flag. A red flag is stop. It's not an orange flag that you're just pausing and giving it some more time and finding out some more information and getting some more credibility around something potentially. It's stop. Disrespect for boundaries. If you say, oh, look, no, don't come over tonight, and they turn up, or look, I need time with my kids, or I don't want to share this, or I don't want to do something, or I don't want to go somewhere, and they don't respect your wishes and your boundaries, then this is not okay. And these little things are signs to know that how they do it from the start is only going to extrapolate into even more magnification of that behavior going forward. Rushing intimacy at any level. We always encourage the girls not to rush into sleeping or having sex or sending photos, and if you're starting sex talk and you haven't even met them, like, these are things that are red flags. These are things that meet them. Have a good, healthy foundation. Flirt and have a little bit of a giggle and a play, but certainly know that, as you're starting off and you're meeting somebody, you meet them in public, and I'm going to touch on this as we go through, but if they still have their past in their life, and if their past is their present, and they're still bickering and in a legal battle with their ex, or their kids are fighting with them, or they've got chaos and trauma in their life, be really aware of why you would be taking on that, because you don't necessarily have to do that at this point. If you've just met someone, you can choose that this is not for you. It's not hurting anyone's feelings, saying this is not for me in my life right now. And you can step away from that, and rather than be taking on other people's drama and chaos and trauma. And you don't have to do that. And it's not something that you have to even apologize for. It's just, you haven't got a relationship there to apologize for letting it go. Taking on someone that's got an addictive or an obsessive or a behavior that's, if they're even, if you married someone and you've gone along with them for years and years, and they create or have an addiction, or you find something out, that's very different to choosing from just meeting someone and realizing that they've got a gambling addiction, or a sex addiction, or an alcohol addiction, or this is something, or maybe they're recovering and they're just battling through it. So be careful why you're choosing to take on someone that you would need to be, someone that would be, mindful of how you behave, things that you've got to manage your own frameworks around, of where you do and don't. Maybe don't drink around them, or you maybe don't, go to Melbourne Cup with them, or these are all the things that, are going to be restrictions. So there've got to be choices that you make going in. And if you're feeling the need that you can go in and rescue them, what's coming up for you that makes you think that you should be a rescuer? And what do you need to build up in you that you're feeling a lack of significance, that you're needing to feel significant to go in to rescue them? So as we go through, this is such a critical thing to be able to build this up, so that we can not just, we're not there to fix them. We're not there to take on a project. And ladies, we're not there to be a project either. And that's why it's so critical that we are feeling in our own space whole and complete. And then we take on someone who's whole and complete as well. These green flags for the whole and complete man, that magnificent man, is he is emotionally available. He wants to hang out. He wants to talk to you. He wants to have a laugh. He wants to text you back. He doesn't ghost you. It's consistent communication. He sends you a message during the day, but it's not 50 messages. It's just, a good, healthy amount that you both feel comfortable with. It's respects your independence. Hey, I can't go out tonight, I'm catching up with the kids. Or I can't go out tonight, I'm going out with my girlfriends. And they don't sulk, they don't get upset, they don't feel sad. They go, great, we'll see you the next time we can. And they take responsibility. If they, we all make mistakes and we all trip up. And if they've tripped up, then they own it, and they come back and they apologize for what they've done, and they put things right to make sure it doesn't happen again. So this is a big one, trusting your intuition. A lot of the ladies, and even you go back over your past and you think, I knew at the time that wasn't right, but I just was lonely. Or I knew at the time it wasn't right, but I thought I could make it right. And we just can't. Like, it just doesn't work out. So call it early. It's easier to break something up before it started. It's easier to block something or not communicate or stop things before it gets going than what it is down the track. So make your call early and really trust your gut. And when you do find that right person that you has got green flags and you do want to go out, my recommendation is to go out to a fun activity to start with and do something that's fun. Go somewhere that's maybe it's a cooking class or an art gallery or a festival, or go somewhere that you can really see each other in real life. You can see how they speak to other people, hang out. Maybe their friends have come, your friends have come, how your friends all mix together. The first date, I wouldn't be inviting all your friends to, but certainly the first date could be that you go out and you are playing mini golf, or you are doing, and then you're going to go somewhere and have a coffee, or so that you know that it can be a bit of exploring, bit of fun, but it doesn't have to be too intense and too major. Don't show where you live to start with. Meet them there, or I know some girls say, I picked him up so that he didn't have to come to my place, and I would felt more in control. But even that could be for your very first date. I would meet them in a cafe or coffee shop for a quick coffee. Work out that you've got some chemistry there. Work out that you've got he is who he shows up on his profile is. There's consistency and congruency there, and that you do want to go to that next thing. So Murdoch and I, in our early dates, we went out and we did lots of fun things. We went out, we did one of the wine tours. Went out on a boat. We went out and did a cruise. These are some fun things that we did. And, so we went to a concert. So do something that you can both go and really enjoy. And that night is the event, and creates the night. And at the end, you can both go, we had a really great time and a lot of fun, and we'll do it again another time. So these are the things that start building up trust with each other, trust in understanding who he is. And, me seeing with my now husband, my third husband, we've been together 8 years, nearly 8.5. And we met online. We met on a profile. I'd posted it up. I put my profile out. I'd had one of my breaks. I'd been away from it for a few weeks. And then I went offline because I was overseas and I was off in an area that didn't have any signal for a week or so. And I came back. I was at the airport. I clicked on and it went ding. And there he was. He was online, and he had clicked he'd liked me. So I clicked I'd liked him back, and he was online. So we literally were chatting. I was in Johannesburg and he was over here in Perth where we lived. And yeah, so when I got back a few days later, we ended up talking so much online, and we ended up deciding we'd meet up. So it just went from there. So it evolved, and it's something that's evolved over time. But as we've gone through, we sort of made sure that we checked in. I've validated who he was. I've met his friends, met his family, and I really made sure that this was a person that kept showing up and he was congruent all the time. And that trust got built over a long time, and to the point that we did fall in love. He probably he said he was in love with me straight away, but I think it was probably a little bit slower than that, but to be true love. And as we went through, mine was something that was gradual as well, because I knew that if this was going to be my forever after, I wanted to be really discerning about that as well. And we've got this saying, it's 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. And in those first 3 days or dates, you don't, burp or fart in front of each other. You're on your best behavior, and you just, you show up. It's like an employee coming to a job. Those first 3 days they come in, they turn up on time, and they're really well dressed, and they've got their fingernails done. They're really well behaved. But then the 3 weeks, you start seeing some real, some of those habits that are there, and their personality starts coming through. So you start seeing that, oh, okay, they said that they'd been over to Europe, but now they're telling me they've never been overseas. So you're starting to see some inconsistencies, and they're the things that are major red flags. So, these are the things that you can start really picking up within that 3 weeks. And then there's the next target, which would be 3 months of, okay, now they've come in, they've settled in, we are burping and farting in front of each other possibly, and maybe even, gone on to say how much we've gone into a relationship that maybe is moving into being committed. It's been exclusive. I mean, these are all the things that can take those couple of months to get to that point. And, there's no rush. There's no writing on the wall what we should have this relationship look like. We can choose whether we want to have a relationship with somebody that ultimately ends up with us both still living in different houses, or we only see each other on weekends, or we only see each other a couple of nights during the week and not every night, or we can choose how we want to have it and what we'd like it to have as well. The other thing, just to being really keeping your mind open, is protecting yourself. Boundaries, there's self-care. So clear boundaries aren't walls or shutters. They're not you putting up, and letting them having and testing them to break them down. They're healthy guidelines that protect your energy, communicating them early and consistently of what you need and what you most importantly don't need in a relationship, and what you do and what you very importantly don't like. So it's good to be able to share this. And I'm not recommending you share everything and just, just dump everything out there and just throw it out on the first date. This is something that takes those, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months to really get it out there, so that you don't, one, scare them off, and two, that you have a great relationship and you're able to both share. You're sharing a bit more. It's going a bit greater. It's going really good. It's going even better. Then you're sharing a bit more. So you're sort of letting things go, but it's not that you're putting walls up. It's just that you're just choosing to release personal information about yourself as you grow and as you go along together. And that's being vulnerable. Vulnerability is strength. True connection requires opening up, sharing gradually as trust builds. Authentic sharing invites authentic connection. So there's absolutely no rush to do this. And, both Murdoch and I, we went through a lot with, him sharing things that have come up in his past, and I've shared about mine, but it certainly didn't happen at once, and it took a lot of time. And we both went through sharing. We both had, significant illnesses when we've been together dating. Only 18 months in, I got diagnosed with breast cancer, and he was there for me like a rock, and there every day, taking me to and from hospital and helping me every step of the way. And, he's got different things that have come up for him that I've been able to return that. So, this is, that vulnerability it makes you stronger when it's given from a place of love as well. And maintaining your identity, keep nurturing your passions, your friendships and your growth, and be friends. We make sure we travel on our own and travel together with other people too, sometimes for sure, but certainly we like to get away. We're on a month-long trip now in a caravan together, on the beachside little place, and we're just hanging out. We're just having fun, and we're just having a laugh, and we're playing cards, and we're just connecting in and making sure that we're really building up that remembering all of the fun things that we are, and don't just form ourselves and get ourselves into a habit of a relationship that we're just existing. It's about how we can make it so that it's wonderful every day. And just maintaining your own identity in there as well. Keep nurturing your passions, friendships. It's so important to keep your girlfriends or guy friends if you've got them, and keep those independent relationships going as well on the side, because they're the girls that you go to, or the people you go to be able to share when you need it. And there's such a powerful tribe to be able to have around you. And keep growing. Keep your own self-identity and self-growth going, so that you're always learning. And a full life makes you a better partner. Your worth never depends on relationship status. It depends on how happy you are and how healthy you are as well. And progress, not perfection. Know that, as you progress along and as you grow and get things to a place of where you want it to be, it may not be, that you've got the perfect person there, but you've got some companions, you've got some fun. At one time, I had a couple of chaps on the go at once, and it was intentional. And they were very clear that it was not a committed relationship. But certainly one was, great to go out to the movies with. One was great to go out to concerts with. The other one didn't want to go to that. And they weren't expecting me to be just solo with them. So it's as long as you're keeping things open and you're honest and you're transparent and you're doing things congruently, ladies, this is your chance to have some fun and do it in a safe way, and make sure that the path to safe and confident, come back to dating. It starts here, but get you right. Start with you first. Make sure you're in a place of feeling empowered, feeling powerful, feeling whole, feeling complete. And you're the one that's been discerning. You're the one that's choosing. Sure, guys are going to have to choose you as well, but it's not just someone choosing you and you going, oh, I might not get someone else. This might be the best I could get. This is you knowing that there's a million more fish in that pond, and there's amazing ponds out there. And in a heartbeat, you can find someone else that's going to be amazing for you as well. So be discerning and know confidently that you're going to end up with someone perfect, because you're absolutely perfect yourself. So you're going to find someone all perfectly imperfect for each other. And it's going to be great growth and great fun. And know what you want in a relationship. Write these down. For me, it was fun. It was someone that was family centered. It was someone that was, loyal. It was someone that was, strong and stable, and someone that cared and was a giver and loved me, and, someone then that I loved and was able to feel like I could give. And the chemistry absolutely needs to be there, but all the other stuff does too. So have fun with it, ladies, and do it in a really healthy way. And I look forward to hearing any updates in the chat below. All the best.